Hi, this is Janey, Imaani, and welcome to Emotional Awareness. So in the last episode, I mentioned that you don't have to trust somebody 100% in order to be with them. And a lot of people were confused about what that meant. So in today's video, what we're going to do is break down the elements of trust so it's much easier to understand. So in the Daring Way, we separate trust into 7 elements because breaking down the attributes of trust into specific behaviors allows us to clearly identify the breaches of trust. So it's much easier to figure out what you trust in somebody and what you don't trust about them. So we use the acronym BRAVING to do that. And so the first one that we have is B for boundaries. So that's when you trust the person to respect your boundaries. And when they're not clear about what's okay and what is okay, they feel comfortable enough to ask and you feel comfortable enough to tell them and say no if you need to. Then you have R for reliability. So that's when you trust them to do what they say they will do. This means that they're aware of their competencies and their limitations and they don't overpromise and are able to deliver on their commitments. So for this to happen, they have to be quite cognizant of how capable they are. You know, regardless of their good intentions, they should be able to say no, they can't do something when they can't. Okay, then you have A for accountability. So that's when they own up to their mistakes, apologize and make amends. So then you have V for vault. So that's when they don't share information or experiences that are not theirs to share. So you trust that your confidences are kept with them and they're not sharing any information about other people that should have been kept confidential. So sometimes people mistakenly try to build trust by telling you about somebody else's secret in order to feel close to you. But obviously if they break their trust, then they can break yours as well. Okay, so next one. Then you have I for integrity. So that's when they choose courage over comfort. They choose what is right over what is fun, fast and easy. And they choose to practice their values over professing them. So this is about actions. This is when you see that they live up to the values that they are preaching. Then you have N for non-judgment. So this is where I can tell you how you feel and I can ask you for what I need and we can talk about how we feel without any judgment. So this is sort of being emotionally safe with them. So then you have G for generosity. So that's when they extend the most generous interpretation possible to the intention, words and actions of others. So this is generosity in thought. A lot of times when we think generosity, we think gifts and donations, but this is more about how do they feel and think about you. So, you know, do they assume that you are jealous or that, you know, you don't want the best for them, or are they likely to assume that you have good intentions for them? So the acronym BRAVING helps you to identify what in the relationship needs work and what you need to work around. Because when it comes to building a relationship, it will be really hard to find somebody who meets all 7 of the requirements. And in order for you to even be in a relationship with them, they don't have to meet all 7. So for example, I can think of somebody where I wouldn't trust them to keep my secrets, but I would trust them to show up in the middle of the night and be there for me. So I can think of another person where I know that they mean well for me and that they have good intentions for me, but I don't think they respect my boundaries. You know, I don't think they really get where I'm coming from. So as you can see, you can trust different people for different things. And so another reason why you want to use the acronym BRAVING to identify what you don't like about somebody or what you don't trust about somebody is because if you went up to somebody and you said to them, I don't trust you, then what does that mean? It's kind of disheartening and it's confusing because what can they do about it? That's like gives them no information to work on. But instead, if you took the acronym and you clearly identified the behavior that you don't like, then you could go up to them and show them this is the aspect that I would like us to work on. So it sort of gives you the language so it's easy for you to identify the behavior. Okay, so let's do this in a nutshell. Mistakes don't always bankrupt trust. The people that you love and care for very much will break your trust from time to time, but specifically identifying the behavior that you're struggling with gives you a better chance of working it out with them, because trust and mistakes will always have to coexist. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you next week, which is next Wednesday. Take care. Bye.